Finding myself on the way back to me. And honestly, God knows it hurts.
How are ya? You're back. Or you're new. How you doing? Welcome to Back to Me. If you are new, welcome. If you are not new, welcome. Welcome to Back to Me, where I am choosing and consciously continuing to make the decision to get back to me. And I am super blessed and ecstatic and infinitely grateful that you allow me to help you on your journey and guide you on your journey to getting back to yourself as well. How are you doing? How are you? If nothing more, I hope you are being kind to yourself if no one else is. If everything else is feeling heavy, I hope you're bringing some light to yourself, some joy, some calm, some kindness. If no one ever told you this, you deserve it, and it does not need to be earned. It just needs to be provided, and you can provide it to yourself because you deserve it. I am doing silly as hell. I'm doing silly, okay? I'm on my joy wave, okay? I'm doing silly. I am always excited and happy to drop these videos, so it always boosts my frequency to do it because it's because it's a part of my purpose. Yeah, wow, I just had an epiphany moment. So I'm feeling silly, joyful, blessed to be able to show up here and provide this to you, the world. Yeah. So, getting right into it. Please check out the bonus videos if you have not. They tend to be shorter. I try to make them as shorter as possible. I definitely don't want them to be as long as the full-length videos. So, I'm getting it together, you know. Work with me. Be patient with me, please. And please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have questions, comment. If you want me to talk about a specific topic, comment. However, please be appropriate. Please be respectful. Okay? Otherwise, we are going to be talking about love and loss. And when we talk about loss, that can be a lot of things. All right, so, but there is a connection with loss that has to do with grief and pain. We all know what love is, and if you don't know what love is, there is different types of love, by the way. So let's just start there before we jump into loss. So love, okay, is one of the highest frequencies and one of those really good feelings we have. And we could take it all the way back from, okay, we're born, and whoever is our parents, whether they're biological or not, we have this deeper connection and is this love, right, towards them, right? There's also love where if a person was hooked up to a lie detector test and they're like abusive and you ask them, do they love you? They might actually pass because their form of love is completely 1,000 degrees of toxic, right? So love isn't always feel good because it's not always the form of love that it actually should be. Ideally, love is the highest frequency and it's supposed to uplift us, right? But because we are people with free will, we have ways of distorting what that looks like. But then saying, I love you. Free will goes deep, y'all. The true essence of love is supposed to be a very high frequency. We bring unconditional love into that. That's really high. That's the love that the divine power, God Almighty, would have for us, right? Which would make us be forgiven for so many things we do, right? That we choose to do. That's not the best, right? But because we have free will, we have ways of kind of manipulating and making things be like, this can't be love, because love doesn't really incorporate that, right? Those are behaviors. That doesn't mean that the feeling towards a person of love isn't there. It's just a person's behaviors is extremely toxic, is unloving, is the literally opposite of what love is actually supposed to feel like or be like when we're talking about a behavior. So that's love, right? There was something that was a part of that I wanted to add. It'll come back to me when it's supposed to. so that's love. So now here's the other side. It came back to me. So the other side of this is we have to understand too that love is actually a choice. So like because people talk about, and this is kind of separate from this video, but because I'm going to be talking about love and I've already talked about it in the prior video, I'm just going to talk about it now, okay? We talk about when people say, I fell in love, I love you. Falling in love is literally just that. You fall in love, right? And to be honest with you, falling in love might actually be intertwined with sometimes for some people, this codependency trait, this aspect of wanting to save others that actually causes this falling in love effect. Because falling in love can feel like that infatuation stage a little bit, that really giddy, the easy stage, the stage where it's like everything is just rainbows and butterflies, which is exactly why you can fall out of love too, and that stage be gone. So falling in love is literally just that. It's like you stumble into, ooh, I have all these feelings for this person, right? After whatever. It could be after something they said, something you notice. Sometimes the something you notice is that they're lonely too, that they need to, that they it almost can feel like to you they need to be saved. So you're like, I can do that for them. I can be of value. And so you fall in love. But then eventually you fall out. Okay? Because sometimes that falling in love, and I'm just saying sometimes, I don't want to say all the time, even though I'm like, it might be most of the time, that falling in love part comes from something within us that we pick up on with the other person that might be associated to something we actually need to heal. That might be a lack or a distortion that was created based on the role we've been in our families, right? So there's that falling in love, and that's why falling in love is different than I love you. I love you in a sense, right? Like if someone says, are you in love with me? No, I love you. Yes, if you want to say I'm in love with you, then that, yeah. But the act of loving someone is a choice. You can actually take that away if you want to. People do it all the time. When people are in long-term relationships, you're literally, this is how much free will we have. You're choosing to continue to love this person through thick and thin. Especially when we talk about marriage, they talk about good and bad, for poor, for richer. That means you choose to be with this person still and choose to still love them. So then we go back to what unconditional love is. I'm loving you past the conditions. So I don't see them. I'm just choosing to still love you, right? Which is why love is one of the highest frequencies, because it can really allow you to heal yourself and someone else, right? Or at least, I want to say heal yourself, but guide someone else to heal, because you don't constantly place these restrictions and judgments on them. You let them be and let them live their soul path, while you still love because there's a part of love where we have to choose to love ourselves too, which is why I say love is also a choice, because we constantly choose not to love ourselves. And we don't even realize it. You're just choosing not to love yourself. But then when you start to choose to love yourself, which we call self-love, you continuously have to choose to keep loving yourself, because there can be many things that stop you from loving yourself. This is the same thing that can happen in relationships with other people, family, friends, partners. We have to choose to do that. When we fall in and fall out, that's a bit different. There are different attachments to that. But love in itself is a choice, which is why when we go through a lot of pain and we go through loss, right? We could find ourselves in a place of struggling to open up and love again at all, right? But there is a connection between self-love and the ability to love others. That I'm gonna talk about a whole different time, okay? Because if I add that to this, I mean, we'll be here for like maybe 30 minutes. And if you want to be cool, but I'm trying to respect people's time and attention spans. So I'm trying to respect people's times and attention span. Now, so basically, that's the love component. Now, when we talk about loss, this can be many different forms of loss. It could be loss from a death, from a breakup, from a separation, from just like having to become physically distant from each other because of work. So now we live in 2 different states or in 2 different countries. Those all can feel like losses. Losses can feel like when things are taken from you, or you lose your car or your house. We're talking about losses in every capacity, not just one, okay? So with that being said, loss can bring up aspects of grief and a lot of pain. Loss can actually consume us and control how we show up, because it can cause a lot of fear. Once you've experienced a loss, you can literally, this is just your brain braining. Your brain will start to conceptualize that it is possible for me to experience a loss, especially if it's your first time experiencing a specific type of loss. And so it will conceptualize it as, oh wow, this is possible. So now this is something that we should be fearful of or worry about, right? And so it'll impede on how you live your life in a way that allows you to be abundant and prosperous. Because now you're going to be living it from a stringent place of fear and worry, right? Fear and worry has never really necessarily produced a lot of positivity, especially because it's one of those situations, it's one of those emotions that can consume you and stop you from actually taking leaps that's actually needed to open up more doors that can actually have more abundance and prosperity behind them. Like, there are parts of life that requires risk. And really, it's not even just necessarily risk, it's just taking the leap and having the faith in yourself and in the faith in divine source that's connected to you, that you can achieve. Everything isn't always going to be up and up. But how do we get to up and up if we can't even get through that door? To find the ladder and to get to the right stairs. We won't. Now we're left in the same spot. But we got a leak in this room and we got to get the hell out. What are we going to do? You're going to have to take a leap of faith and believe in yourself. So, when we experience loss and the grief and the pain, it's very real. It's valid. It doesn't matter whether it's someone passing away, you lose your home. It's very valid. But it can impede on so many areas of your life. Relationships, your relationship with finances and money, your relationships with other people, your relationship with yourself. So what do we do when we talk about grieving and pain? You know, sometimes we're also grieving the loss of a relationship while we're in a relationship because the relationship has changed, or we have experienced betrayal in the relationship. So it just kind of feels like we've lost ourselves in a relationship, or we've lost our partner, or we lost what we thought our relationship was. Here's the tips. Grief takes time. Just like your journey back to yourself is going to take time. Everything happens on divine timing. Everything happens in divine time. Not your timing, not our human societal idea of time. Divine time, meaning it's connected to a higher source. Meaning you can't control all of this around you. My phone, this headset, nothing here but you. Everything happens in divine timing. I want to be over this pain now. I got to get over this pain now. You saying that isn't actually helping you get over it. It's just causing and reinforcing how you want to get away from the pain that you are experiencing. But what if you were supposed to be experiencing this to elevate? And that in divine timing, you will be exactly where you need to be when you need to be. Because now you have processed through it and it has changed you to a more leveled up version of yourself. If you allow it, because you still have free will. And our free will can allow us to really shitty up some shitty stuff already. Just saying, right? But even no matter what choice you make, when you realize what you really need, which is you need time. Your feelings are valid. You need not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. You need to love and support yourself. If I want to cry right now, I'm not going to beat myself up and say, bitch, why are you crying? This is ridiculous. I'm going to say, you know what? Let me support myself and breathe. Let me hug myself. It's not ridiculous. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. I feel it. And when you do this, more will come out. I feel alone. I feel abandoned. And then you might have a light bulb moment. This abandonment started from when I was a kid. Oh my God. And you might cry more. Tears is the release. It's the catharsis. We don't force ourselves to cry. It happens naturally because it's supposed to. It's your body releasing that energy so you can level up. Why are we running from tears? If I'm upset and I'm crying, why am I running from the tears? I need that. You need, when you're grieving, to know that you're valid. Not to beat yourself up. I don't even care if you say, I contributed to this though. I contributed to this loss. Support yourself to understand yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're contributing to this loss and you just say, I hate myself, that's all you're going to get is that you hate yourself and you hate yourself. And you're going to stay in this loss for way longer and grieving for longer, because all we're doing is shaming, guilting, and beating up ourselves. I mean, it's your choice. You could do that, but I'm telling you, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help get you to the other side, which you deserve, whether you contributed it or not. I'm not here to judge you. You're judging you. Doesn't matter if you contributed to it or not. If you keep beating up yourself, you're not gonna get to where you need to be, where you would want to be, which is not feeling that. The hardest thing for us is to accept what is. What is done is done. What is done is done. We can't go back. We don't have that ability. And that is for a reason. Okay? I know there's conspiracies like people time traveling. Okay, we're not even going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But okay. But we can't go back, and that's for a reason. Naturally, Almighty God, the Most High, didn't put us here to be able to time travel back naturally. Okay? To be able to change things. We're not supposed to be able to do that. We have to deal with the present. That's the most empowering moments of our lives, is the now. Not the past and not the future. The now. Because the now dictates the future. And the past helps you learn to have a better future. That's it. It's just learning. So when you're grieving, it's a learning process as well. And it's a process. Take your time. Try not to judge yourself. Support yourself for crying. Let the tears come out. You need the catharsis. Give yourself space to be in the pain so you can understand it, so you can learn. Not suppress and become depressed, not anxious because I'm looking at the future because I'm fearful that this is going to happen again. You can only control you. We don't know what the hell is going to happen in the future. And that's good. But I know I, regardless, will figure that shit out because I can control me. That's the focus. That's the primary. That's the empowerment. That's you being your superhero. Superheroes aren't trying to fly to the past constantly. And we've seen this with Marvel. Yeah, they fly to the past and they mess up some goddamn stuff because basically physics says if you do that, you're changing multiple timelines. Now we have a new goddamn problem. Okay? And superheroes aren't drifting off into the future constantly because this doesn't actually resolve anything. The now, the present resolves things. And it all weighs on the present. How present are you? Be present in your grief. You have a right to be hurting if you are experiencing a loss. But how you experience that is dictated on you as well. How are you showing up for you in the process of it? Your pain is real. But pain and grief can cause us to spiral. And many times we spiral because we don't want to feel the pain related to the grief. You're human. You have 10,000 emotions. And every one of them is trying to tell you something about you. So when do you want to listen? You're grieving, and you're human, and you're having 10,000 emotions show up. So you're just going to suppress, you're going to avoid, you're going to escape. You're going to have to do that for the rest of your life. Because we have 10,000 emotions. And every 10,000 emotion can show up every goddamn day for us. So when are we going to accept that we're human and we're going to work with ourselves and not against ourselves? Because all we can do is that. We can only control ourselves. Not everything else that happens around us. And yeah, some of the things that happens around us or to us is shitty. We don't like it. But it's more shitty when we start to beat ourselves up in the process through suppressing and avoiding and escaping the fact that we're human and this is how I'm feeling about this shitty thing. You're not alone. Don't make yourself feel like you have to be alone. Be there for you. I'm not talking about you needing to have other people there for you. I'm talking about how are you showing up for you? Are you going to be there for you? Because it starts with you, it ends with you. It starts with you, it ends with you. You are one of one. You were born here alone. Even if you were born as a twin, a triplet, I don't care, a quadruplet. Y'all didn't all pop out all at the same time? That's for a reason. So what you doing? How you showing up for you? In your process of grieving and loss, what I will say is you can always find bereavement groups or counseling, or they also call it grief counseling. This is counseling for some of us that are dealing with losses. And I would like to say, yeah, generally we talk about losses of someone who may pass away, but you can also go into counseling because you're dealing with just adjusting to any form of a loss, whether it be with divorce, all the other topics, areas that I said before. Because you going to counseling and therapy and participating in a group is how you're showing up for you. And that's the biggest thing you can do for yourself when you're grieving. The years that I didn't show up for myself in the grief because I wanted to suppress it and I felt horrible because I didn't want to feel it because it was too much. I struggled way more with depression and all this other shit came up in my life because I was like, wow, I am running. But that isn't going to make that person come back. And it's surely not going to help me because it hasn't been. To just not deal with it. To not hear myself. To not care for myself. This is my beautiful people. It's always good to see you. Go out there and be great. Not for me, not for someone else, for you, because you deserve it. And if no one ever told you that, I'm telling you. And God has tried to tell you multiple times, you are great. It's not a look, it's not a height, it's not a weight, it's not an income. It's not a what do you have versus what you don't have thing. It's a you are great and that's it thing. Not something you gotta prove. So go out there, be great. And remember, you are the hero in your story if you allow yourself to be. So be great and choose wisely. Okay. Well, on that note, bye.